Okay, so I'm going to spotlight this so you all can see it. Some of you are going to be working with ink today. Others of you are going to be working with pencil and paper, or perhaps charcoal and newsprint if you feel like it. You always have a choice in this class, although it's been asked, people have asked me to demo in ink. So let me introduce the supplies really quick. But for those of you working in another medium, you're going to do the same thing that I do in ink with pencil. Okay, so just watch as we go through and let me know if you have questions. What we'll be using, when I say ink, people have a lot of different ideas about it. My idea of ink is to remove as much control from you as possible. So we're going to be using these today. This is a bamboo pen and this is a Sumi brush. This is Sumi ink. It's waterproof. You could also use Higgins, one of my favorite. This is green, so I'm not going to use it today. I'm just going to use black and white. And many people will say, you can't erase with ink. And the truth is, in a way that's true, and in a way, there is a way that you can work with ink and kind of go over things that you don't like. So I wanted to demonstrate that really quick before we get started on this drawing. For the rest of you, go ahead and find a piece of paper. It can be small. You'll notice this is slightly bigger. It doesn't have to be bigger. It could be half the size if you wanted to. It could be a 8.5 by 11 sheet of printer paper if you're working with pencil. It can really be anything. And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about how to measure and get things in the right places before we get started. But first, let me quickly demonstrate ink. Oh yes, and ink always needs a little, you need like a, here, I'm going to put this up here so you guys can see it a little bit more. What I'm putting down here is just a regular piece of printer paper. It's scrap. With ink, I always need a kind of place to test my brush and how much I've got on it before I do anything else. What does that mean? That means that if I were to, so my materials with ink beyond the basics are 2 cups of water, my ink thing, and we'll start with the brush. And just to kind of, once again, those of you who are doing ink, let's take a little time to practice. I'm going to dip my brush right in the ink and make some marks. Those of you who are not using ink, you're probably already like jealous. Not jealous. It's fantastic, right? Look at this beautiful mark making that you can do. And then I want you to dip your brush in the water. It should get pretty cloudy and black. And notice that as you get lighter, you'll get this kind of light. The more you dip into the water, the lighter gray you'll get. So what's important about that? Let me show you. Oh yes, the one other thing you want if you're working with ink, security blankie. Hold this in your non-dominant hand all the time. It's just a paper towel, but you will need it. Because if I dip my brush in the water and I put it on the Bristol paper like this, I can wipe it off. If I dip my brush straight into the ink and I put that on, I cannot wipe it off. See what happens? So as we do our sketching, we start with this watery ink, which I test on here to make sure it looks right, because I can erase that. I'm not worried about this, by the way, you'll see. See, I'm really not worried about erasing this. I know what ink can do. Does anybody have questions about that? The second sort of tool we use in ink, and it's after we've kind of laid down our first layers, is we'll dip the brush directly in the ink well. And you can see we can make an entirely different kind of mark with our bamboo pen. So ink, all art is really a combination of mark making and its shape and value. So what does that mean? It means that we want to make sure we have strong value differentiation, right? Our lights look light against our darks and our mediums look medium against our dark and our lights. We want that to be pretty distinct. But also notice what happens when I just run a line of ink across a mushy line. It gives it a structure that's really important. So all drawings are also, and paintings are also about providing, so this is a finishing technique. We won't do it until we pretty much know where everything is. You'll not need many of these lines to lock in a strong shape. Does anybody have questions about that as we go on? All right. So for those of you who are using, I'm going to move this over here so that you know what I'm doing. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. So for those of you who are using pencil, you're just going to make marks. You're going to make the same shapes that we're going to do with the brush. So what are those shapes? Well, the first thing we're going to do with a still life like this is go to kind of the primary subject and determine the length and the width. How do I do that? So here, you can do this with the pencil. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm just marking the vertical distance on here. Right? Can you see here's the top, here's the bottom. And then I'm going to find, oops, what's going on there? Oh, I see. Yeah. And then I'm going to find the halfway point. I can use that. I can do that by using a ruler, or I can do that by kind of using my hand. If I use a ruler, I like to use my hand. I'm going to guess it's about here. And then I take my hand and I see if my fingers, see how I've got my fingers lined up like this? If they are the same, if they hit the bottom, I know I've hit the halfway point. So this is like super helpful. And so for those of you using pencil, you can just mark that with your pencil. For those of you using ink, you can just on your paper, leaving room. I'm just looking to see here. Yeah, you can want to go kind of to the center of your paper for this one. Notice I am randomly deciding how big to make this. This is not the same size as this. What matters in drawing is proportions and not size. So I can come here and find, doesn't matter how big you make your first marks. I can come here and find my halfway point. This kind of acts as a guide to help you figure out where things are. So your first set of lines, I think. So I want you to notice there is no petals definition. This is like one super object. So as I'm sketching, I can do things like, let me give you a couple more measurements. So you're going to draw this outline that includes everything. Please do not make petal marks. You're not ready. We're not ready for that. You want to do the basic outline, and notice that these things are all together and there's no inside lines, right? So a couple of other things that we can do is check, for example, notice here, I'm taking my halfway point, and if I line it up with the halfway point below, I can see that the apples are basically out wide, 1/2 the distance, the vertical distance. So I can come here, over here, and mark that. So now I know my apples don't go further than this. Let's see what happens if I go the other way. My plate goes a little bit wider. So I can kind of come out here and know that my plate comes out here. You see how that works? People find this very tedious. If you can incorporate this into your measuring system, it solves so many problems. It stops so many things from happening. It's also a little tedious. Let's check one or two other things. let's see, curiously, I'm looking at the halfway point. You can see that the halfway point, that basically the width here is about half the length. So I can mark this and this. You do this with your pencil or you do this with your marker. And remember, the width is here. I'm going to draw it. This line is here. So it includes not only the jar on this side, but also flowers sticking out a little bit more. So when I start at the top, and you're welcome to watch this, see how loose everything is, and see how much I'm using my guide, these marks to tell me kind of where things are. I think that's right. We'll see. Maybe I need to bring this. I think I need to bring this in here. Wait, where's my blankie? There it is. I think I need to bring this in just a little bit more, or maybe not. There. Notice that making curved lines sometimes means things get kind of harder, but I want you to really observe how loose this is. So this is how you draw without getting frustrated. You start with loose things. Oh, I went too high with my apple here. And notice also, I'm making mistakes. I'm making things too big, very easy to do. I'm having to erase. Being a good drawer is not about getting things right on the first time. It's about giving yourself a system so you know how to correct. And that's pretty much it right now. I guess we can add in, if you want to, the wall. And if you want to, you can add. You're going to decide kind of whether you want to put this in, how much of the table you want to, you have options. So I'm going to take a picture of it and send it across. And I'd like you to send me a picture of yours outline when you think you've got it. And I'm going to check it. Not because I want to harass you, but because I want to help you catch yourself at the beginning. Okay, there's a little bit of harassment in there. There we go. So you should be able to see this drawing pretty easily. I'm also going to send this across. So if you're one of those people who likes to lay your source down, you can use the WhatsApp thread to lay this on the table and put your paper right next to it. Hi, Lana. Hi, Eugene. While I'm here, I can check a couple things. Huh. Is that true? 1, 2. You can see. Yeah. So it's easy to get overwhelmed with all the detail, but it's so much easier if you can start by just getting your proportions right. And take your time with this, you guys. Don't rush. I tend to go fast. The students who have been in this class for a while know to stop me if I'm going too fast. And you should feel free to reach out and say, hey, Leah, you're going too fast. Stop. So when you've got, when you think you've got this outline, which looks a little bit like a mushroom cloud right now. Let me know. Send it over the thread. And newbies particularly, don't be shy. Let's see. Let me see. I think I can see it. Hold on, I'm going to check some proportions. So it looks to me, Geraldine, like you've gone too far this side. Notice, if you notice from the beginning, that this width kind of drips over. So bring this, so your side is, here I'm going to show you with this, your side is here. Bring it a little bit this way. Then also, this apple is, if you notice, if I run a pencil straight across, these apples are lined up, the tops of them. Notice that your apple is going up like this. So bring it down. 1, 2. This is pretty good. Everything else looks pretty good besides that. So correct those things. And also notice that your apple doesn't pop out. You've got this going like that. It's really more kind of almost an angle line like that. Let's see, April. Okay, 1, 2. So April, I think you're a little bit too, I think you come out a little bit more on either side. You're like this. Oh, it's because this isn't wide enough. Stretch it out a little bit. You're kind of like right here. So stretch it out a little bit further here. That's going to help you. And your apple is kind of more like make it a box for it. On this side, it's like that. See that? By the way, and line up. And then this, notice that this is more, this apple is closer. Notice that this apple is the front one is pretty much close to the top of the back one. So you're going down like this. Really, the apple is up here. Yeah. Francesca. So this is well, let's see. Yeah, so you're doing that same thing, Francesca. You're going down like that. And so make a box like this.
Okay.
And then also notice that you're too thick on this side. So you're like here, you did this.
Okay.
Right? Really, this should kind of come in like that. Everything else. Oh, I see the problem. You're halfway, you don't have this divided at the halfway point. So this is exactly halfway from the bottom of the vase to the top of the flower. The flowers start at the halfway point. If you'll notice, you're here, you're too low. I mean, I see this, but you need to mark, get where your vase is, which is right, kind of lined up with this apple here.
Okay.
Went down a little too low. So really, these are like straight angle lines out. I think everybody needs this box. I'm going to send this box over so y'all can see it. Take a look. Look at where the orange lines are with in regards to the actually here. Let me take that again when I've erased the lines that aren't supposed to be there. Okay, let's see. Tina, Jack.
So I can see my left apple needs to be higher because of the box.
Let's see. Your left half, yeah, these, if you run a line straight across, you'll see these all line up.
Yep.
They're at the same height. I also, yeah, your far left apple has to come up higher. Let's see, I'm just checking your proportions right now. 1, 2, that's good, good. And this needs to come, you're a little bit out here. This needs to come in a little bit, right? Your base is too thick here. So that also.
Can you show me why?
Can I, what do you mean, why?
Because if I do like a half and a half with my fingers,
Yeah,
it looks right
not
to
a
me.
half, this is not a half measure. This is. You're measuring the bouquet. Look at this. The width of this, if I was to make another half right here, right? The width of this is basically half of this half. See that? The width of this is half of this half. So you just didn't bring this in far enough. You made it too wide here. I see Jackie had it and she erased it. Good job. I like to see the erasing lines.
I think that part's right. Maybe the bouquet's
Oh,
not
that
far
part is
out
not
enough.
right. I am telling you right now, that part is not right.
I can't figure it out though.
Okay, you need to, well, okay, I'm going to show you what you did. Take a look with this blue. This is what you did. Here, I'm going to show you. You did this. I'm going to show you with the blue. You did that. That's what you've done. This needs to come in more like this. You just need to believe me. If you can't see it, you just need to believe me. I can tell you right now, I'm looking at it. I know exactly what the problem is. So 1, 2. This needs to be half the size. I'm going to show you on here so you can really see it. So I'm going to find another halfway point. Let's see, yep. So we're here and here. I'm going to find the halfway point here. And I can see that this needs to be thinner. It needs to be half of this distance. What you're doing, Bettina, is you're transposing this distance and assuming that that is the width of the jar, but the flower's coming out beyond the jar. So that's where you came off, but that's where you came off. Does that make better sense?
I'll figure it out.
Okay, just pull this in to the right.
Okay.
That's what you have to do. You're here, you need to pull this in here. Trust me. On that one. All right. Well, one still has a bit of room to correct here. I'm just seeing if I'm looking at everybody's. Yep. So Francesca, the other thing I want you to observe, and I think this is an interesting thing to observe, is that you've made these equal. It's like you've made a symmetrical thing, but this is not a symmetrical object. The flowers are up above the halfway point here, and they have a different shape than
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
okay.
what your brain does when you're tired or you don't know what to do is it creates a pattern where there is none.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
thank you, left brain. We don't need you for this process.
Hi, I've joined you. It's
Hi,
like,
Diana. Welcome. Diana, we got a couple new people. Geraldine is from Mexico and April is from Portland with me. Diana is from LA. Francesca, you need to come in even more on this side. Well, maybe
Okay.
not on. Let me double check, but I think so. Yep. Yeah. This is real. Look at how skinny this jar is in relation to the flowers. The flowers come out on either side around it.
Okay, but is symmetric the jar? I mean, the point you the point with the ink is at the middle of the jar.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. Yep.
And the width of the jar is half of the half point.
Half of the half, so the quarter
Okay.
point. Yes.
Okay. It's complicated. Thank you.
It is complicated, and yes, when you're first kind of getting it, absolutely. It's like, what? Notice here, I'm kind of also adding in so everybody can see. Almost all of our painting problems aren't really painting problems. Almost all of our painting problems are drawing problems. When it comes down to it, the thing that's hard is drawing. It's not the actual, it's not painting as much. You guys are doing great, by the way. I just want to say, don't, and Sandra and Diana, I know you're probably working on something else. Just send it in as you feel like it.
yeah, I haven't decided what I'm doing today.
Oh,
I think
that's right. You've got something new. You have a little.
I'm going to do a fox in ink.
I almost chose a fox for this class, but I find one that I kept finding that we may do it next week, but I wasn't finding the right source as quickly as I wanted to. It was all kind of a little.
This is my guy.
Let's see. Send them across.
Aw,
Oh.
As opposed to what we call in French nature morte, a dead nature, which is what you guys are doing.
No, that's the Russian term too, natural. We say still life. I guess that just makes it
Just a dead life.
right. For those who are ready to kind of move to the next area, you're going to see that once again, I'm kind of simplifying shapes. I'm really going in with the dark shapes and adding in some inner lines. And for those who are struggling with this, don't worry. It's a noble struggle. It's the struggle. I've been doing this 20 something years now, and I struggled a lot. I still struggle sometimes. So it's okay. It's very much in the realm of what we do. However, I'm adding in some of these lines. And by the way, you can simplify this as much as you want. Yeah, better, Francesca. Better. Okay. So I'm going to send this across so you guys can see it really well. So for those working in pencil, of course, you're just going to continue to work in pencil in the usual way. For sketching, notice I'm still not doing petals. I'm really kind of only doing dark, now the centers of the flowers. Oh, one. And look at how loose everything is and making sure I have these spaces in between. Because the space between these dark shapes is as important as the dark shapes themselves. And I know it's not really fair. I'm making it look easier than it is. I'm trying to kind of rush to get us through so I can look at your stuff. Notice that this water line in the jar is slightly above the quarter point. Don't put it at the halfway. If you want to, you can sketch out the apples. I picked this subject very specifically because it looks complex, but you can get away with a lot of light. Notice also that I'm having you sketch in the major lights and darks of things. You kind of have to do the apples because they are in front of the jar. Right. That plate is going to be a pain in the butt. I myself will probably skip the knife going across. Now I can come in. And notice also that as the sticks go underwater, their reflections kind of, the shape changes a little bit. I think that's pretty good. But also notice how this is already starting to kind of have a form. And Bettina, you might find that it's easier to see what's happening here once you start adding in the inner shapes. That is often what will happen is you'll be like, oh, right, this shape has to look like this compared to these shapes. So sometimes you need to look at the inner shape. You can see my old streaks here. And take your time with this step. Just send it over when you think you've got it. And if you feel like you're going really fast and you're kind of breathing and you're kind of like, that's also good. It's kind of what I'm doing is forcing you into concentration. That's my goal. Let's see. April, can you take a picture right over the top so I'm not getting a skew and a shadow? It's easier for me to see. It looks pretty good. There's one or two things I need to, if you could resend that, that would be helpful. Oh, very nice, Sandra. Thank you.
I'm just going to send you the outline now, Leah.
Okay.
before I make it darker and mess it up if it's wrong.
The foxes are so cute when they sleep. April, did you hear me on that one? I need to see another picture. I can't, it stand right over the drawing, so I'm looking at it flat. And also, so I try to remove your shadow so I can see the lines. I'm struggling to see the lines.
Yeah, it should be coming through now, and I can't really get rid of the shadow.
It's hard to get rid of the shadow. What, just do the best you can. I see it. Okay, so. This looks pretty good. The only thing I'd suggest is that you thin this out just a little bit. Thin this in, move it a little bit to the right. Otherwise, it's looking pretty good. And go ahead and outline also the darks, right, within each subject as you can see them. So the apples have lights and darks. And then April, you can start, if you want to, darkening the dark shapes, right, with your pencil. So let's see. Good job, you guys. Okay, Sandra, let's see. He's a touch long, Sandra. But the main thing is, you have his back kind of curving up, and it's really more straight.
Okay,
Horizontally to the left.
I'll try to see what I can do.
Good job, everybody. Oh, here it is. Yeah, looks great. So April, you can go in with your darks and start darkening in these shapes with your pencil.
Okay.
Yeah. Jack, let's see. Jackie, I think your jar also needs to be thinned out a little bit. It's a little bit wide. Right? So just bring it a little bit to it's good on this side. So bring it in a little bit to the right on that side.
Cool. Okay.
Also notice that the water is more than halfway up. It's past the quarter point.
Ah, yeah, I'm too low.
Notice how the brain always wants to make things or when they don't.
Mm.
For those of you who are kind of ready to go on, I'm going to suggest that you go in with your watery ink and start to darken some of your darks. Now, this isn't dark enough, right? We're going to need to go back in later and re-darken. But it's good to start with kind of a light dark, as it were. And then layer your darks in, because the issue with ink, of course, is that you can't. There we go. So I'm actually coming in with my watery dark. Okay, Francesca, you're doing the same thing. You must be tired. Because this is absolutely not what's happening. These are just 4 straight lines that are right next to each other. I want you to, I'm going to take a picture.
No, okay, yeah, you're right.
Apple, you put this apple in front of you're tired. I can tell.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
This shape
you're right.
is like a pizza slice. Really, it comes like that, right? I want you to take a breath. Have an espresso. Okay. Notice what happens. I can tell when you're tired because I can see that you're starting to create patterns where none exist. So I want you to pay more attention to shape. This is in front of here. This shape is not like a pizza slice. It's kind of more like 2 curved lines that come on top of each other like that. Yep. I mean, I'm not trying to call anybody out here, but you're paying me to teach you, right? So if anybody thinks I'm being too harsh, let me know.
No, not at all.
Bettina. So Bettina, can you see that this is still, that you're still kind of too wide here? Can you see that width now?
I did, but so I painted in the background, so the inner part
Yep, I see it.
is
So
where,
you know, it's easier. So look at these shapes. I'm going to take a picture. So this apple is really more, a little bit more square across the bottom. And this, you'll see this plate you have, and this is a very common thing to do. So you've done this with the plate. It's too steep. The plate is almost straight across the bottom. There's no curve.
Oh, sorry.
okay.
Of the two places I want you to work, it's better. You guys are doing better. This is good. And this is a perfect example. So this is what you don't want. Here, let me take a picture of what you do want. By the way, exaggerating curves is one of the things that we all do without even thinking. Here we go. I'm taking a close-up so you can see kind of what's happening here. Notice also it gets a little darker towards the bottom of the vase near where the apples line up. I think that's because the background of the wall is darker and it's coming through. It's lighter on the top. So now with ink, the way you guys sort of show what you want to do is avoid the light parts, right? So the lightest parts of the, which are, let me see if I can think of that, are kind of here. Kind of sketch these in with a different color. The light parts are here, they're here, here, here. We've got a little bit of light at the top. Actually, these flowers are mostly here and maybe here. These things with the yellow markings I'm about to send across, these kind of lighter orange, these are all the light areas. Oh, and here, of course. Notice I'm completely ignoring the scarf. I don't think you need to do it. Don't worry about it unless you want to. By the way, that is also an artist's prerogative. You know, that's not very clear here. I'm going to do these in blue so you can really see them. So the areas, if you're using ink, the areas that you want to avoid coloring in are in blue. Everything else can get kind of a soft wash. I'm going to send these across again so you can see them. And I also want to make clear that every mistake that people are making, these are really common mistakes. They are mistakes that everyone makes. They're even mistakes that I make. So if you can see the areas that are blue, you want to leave these as light as possible. Everything else,
It is quite difficult to see the blue.
I sent you a picture.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's hard to see here, but you can see it better on your WhatsApp thread. I mean, I could keep trying to find the right color here. There's also, we've already got yellow. think black won't really work. Oh, maybe it will. Here, I'll outline everything in black. It's sort of easy to see, probably because I have so many other colors on there now. There you go. But also, you should just be able to see the lights, right? There you go. So all those dark shapes are the ones we're trying to keep light. Everything else we can kind of wash over. So let's see here. I'm kind of going around with a super light wash. Everything. Notice at the moment, so this is as good as I'm able to get with my lights. I can also go in with my background and do kind of a light wash. I'm going to be kind of pushing darks and lights after this, but pretty much everything except for the very few. Isn't this interesting how little detail there is and how already this is starting to feel a little bit three-dimensional? I always find that really fascinating. I'm going to leave the table light, this part of the table light, and the bottom part of the table dark. Goes darker. You see, I've got also all these drips happening because I'm at an angle. If you're laying flat, this shouldn't be such an issue for you.
Not so much.
Oh, who's talking?
Très bon. Not so much. Très bon.
All right. So for those of you who are working in pencil, Geraldine and Abel, you can just go in and start darkening the darkest shapes that you see. And if you're having problems seeing them, actually, we'll all do this. Turn it upside down. Turn your drawing upside down. This is a great moment to do this, actually. Everybody can turn their drawing upside down. It's easier to see the shapes very often. Does anybody know why I'm turning this upside down? Besides torturing you? Why?
So we can see the shapes.
So you can see
Because
the
it disengages the left brain.
right. So can you
It's
see how it's
domineering.
easier to see the shapes as you're like going through and looking at it? So yep, that's exactly right. So I'm actually not torturing you. I'm trying to make you.
But it's still torture.
I'm trying what?
It's still torture.
It's still torture because it messes with your left brain, which doesn't like being messed with. So as I'm going through here, right now, I need to start getting my darks darker. So I'm actually dipping my brush back in. Before I was working with water. Now I'm not going to totally dark yet. I'm taking my new water, my clean water, and I'm over here testing, just so you can see, I'm testing over here. A darker version, so less, I'm not going totally ink yet, but I'm definitely adding in more darks. as I see them. I'm not adding in every dark, but I'm adding in the biggest darks. Thank goodness these sunflowers have some really big darks. And if you see them, sometimes you can see there's little areas of dark kind of leading off them. You don't need to do too much, but little bits. Sometimes you'll be like, I don't even know what that is. Even better. Just try and get the shape. I'm going to try and move this.
Stavolta è veramente un pasticcio, mio solenne.
So this really forces you to make some decisions. I'm really literally only going around to the darkest areas. Okay. I put something in the wrong place. Does that make you guys feel better? I also put something in the wrong place. I actually am often putting things in the wrong place. Here we go. It's because I got that a little wet. I'm getting a little bit of bleed. That's okay. I'd rather have that and that. That makes more sense.
Hey, Sonny, I have nothing for you. I have nothing for you.
We have many debates about like this, whether it's easier to know what it is you're drawing or whether it gets in your way. And my response to this is yes. Both of those things happen.
I think the problem when you don't know when you're drawing is that you cannot check whether it reads or not because you don't know what you're reading.
Well,
And I find that's a huge problem.
Eventually it should read. So, but that means sort of eventually you should kind of know.
Adesso ce lo fa fare al contrario.
What's that?
Sorry, I was speaking in Italian.
Oh, it's lovely.
Explaining to my daughter what you were doing, that you have turned it upside down. Yeah, but my brain is totally confused now, completely.
Don't try to turn it the right side up in your brain.
You can turn it the right side up if you want, but let yourself see what happens when you don't know what something is. It sometimes help you get shapes correct. Great. Now I could say got cursed out in Italian for my morning. I like it. You can see as things dry, they get lighter.
I have a congregation here I'm sending to you.
Okay.
I think I'm painting one of Sandra's water lilies.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Water lilies. All right, if you want just a little break, take a look at Sandra's cats that are all very like theatrically posed. That's hilarious. They're so funny. All right, let's see what happens. Let's turn it right side up again. Ooh. See what's starting to happen here. We can go back to going upside down. I don't know if anybody would like to do that, or you can give a you can have a choice. I personally kind of like working upside down, but I can see that's like blowing everybody's mind today. So you can go right side up, or you can continue working upside down by turning the source on yours. And what you can see here is that I'm slowly filling out the lights, the mediums, and the darks. I can see, for example, that this shape is dark compared to this shape. So so to pull out my apple, I need to get that. See that? And on this side as well. It'd be better to have my shapes be a little bit darker. Kind of goes up. This is pretty dark. Now I'm going in with kind of straight ink into my darkest areas. And darkening. If you're working in pencil, of course, you're just doing this same job, but with pencil. And feel free to send it across. I am happy to look at, so see how I'm starting to get dark, and we're about to introduce the second material. We're about to introduce our pen into the equation. And I'll show you how that works. You see how I'm kind of also notice how fast you go with ink. Yeah, we all get to know each other's animals really well in this class. Please feel free to introduce your own.
Are you laying on my foot, Sunny?
There we are. So I'm kind of about here right now. And this is the point where I want to jump in and use my pen. So now I'm sticking my brush right into my bamboo pen, and I might use this to define the side. I like to use the bamboo pen for like outlines. Look at what that does. Okay, and now I'm going to outline my apple.
Am I an hour late?
You are.
Oh, damn. You blooming clocks.
I tried to send a note, but tomorrow it goes back to normal.
Yeah. How annoying. Oh, well, I'll try and catch up.
Yeah, try and catch up. It's ink.
Yeah, you go first.
That's Julia calling in from London. Julia, we've got one or two more other. I was like, all the Europe people. We've got Geraldine from Mexico City. We've got April O'Connor from Portland, like me.
Hey.
Julia's from London.
Julia's late.
It's everybody's like kind of crazy busy. Oh, so you can see I got a little too strong with my, I'm gonna see if I can blot that out a little bit. Oh, maybe I can even blot it out with water. So I'm getting my, oh yeah, that does work a little bit better. See that? So I went a little bit too solid with my line down here. Notice also that when you do this, you can, using the dip pen means you don't, you can maybe make one or two strokes. But look at what that does. also blotting it a little bit with my blankie. See how important my blankie is in this like case? Blankie, very important. Sometimes you have to switch the side. Also, things kind of go not as expected. Like this thing down here. I'm gonna have to work on this a little bit, figure out how to make that work better. I'll certainly wait till it dries. In the meantime, I'm gonna move up and kind of out. And now is where I start adding some of those petal shapes in. Let's see here, we've got this happening. Yeah. I'm not doing every petal. I'm just kind of looking at how these outer shapes. I'm often going around the light areas with ink to kind of shape them. So I'm looking at how these light areas, this is a little petal-like, right? But notice I'm not drawing every petal. That would truly be torture. I'm just kind of drawing in outlines.
I don't know if this was a good idea.
Want to send? Do
Water lily?
Ah,
you want to send it over?
well, it's so in the beginning, so I can still send it over.
If you want to, only if you want to, only if you think I can help. Not if you think it's.
No, I don't think you can help at this stage, but I
Okay.
can show you my process.
Yeah. So you can see now I'm kind of going back with my brush. So now I've got a pen in one hand and a brush in one hand. I've got a kind of dried out inky. And I'm kind of working, okay, if I touch the ink line, you'll see I get a big black blur like that. So you want to be careful to make sure your ink dries. But you can see now I can kind of come back in. Wait, did it again. So this drawing, I guess the point of this is to show you that this drawing is not exactly turning out the way I planned, but I don't mind that.
And it never does in ink, does it?
It never does in ink, right? So you're always
You just got to go with it.
right. So as I'm getting too much ink in, I'm blotting it out, and that's actually creating some neat textures for me. I'm going to go in with ink and kind of sketch in a little bit. So the key here is really where one edge meets another. So your focus really is on kind of these outer edges rather than drawing lines all the way in. Yeah, also, I'm not really minding this very much. I kind of like the haphazardness of it. I feel like as I start to lose control of my lines, interesting things are happening that create kind of petal marks. At least that's my hope. Maybe I'm being optimistic here. But that is my hope. So I'm kind of coming in. This is the lightest area, right? So I really want that to kind of show up. I'm not disliking what's happening, I guess is my main point here. So for those of you who are using pencil, you're going to be using the same principles, right? And the principles are this. You add the biggest light and dark shapes first, and then you kind of work the edge around these light and dark shapes. So you can see here, I'm now adding kind of a stronger edge, and then I'm looking in and going, what happens where the light meets the dark? There's a few lines here. It gets maybe a little lighter up here. Oh, there's a nice little dark in there. I can add that in. Go in with my brush if I want to. And you see, it's not looking too terrible. I am letting go of the final process. I will say I'm absolutely not super getting worked up about what happens. I have my blankie if things go really awry. So you have kind of options about how dark and detailed to get. Work. Come back and work this edge just a little bit. I do feel like I need where my apples are to get more distinct.
Is that a pet?
What's that?
Is that a pet bird?
Yeah, that's my cockatiel yelling at the cat.
Oh, wow. Can you show it to us?
Hi.
Oh, yeah, let me get a picture of him.
Yes, please.
He's talking to me.
April, I know this.
Can you highlight that? I'm going to send it through Frederick. What's his name?
Bernie and Timmy are
Oh,
my
there's two of them.
cockatiels. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that neat?
You have no cats,
I have two cats.
and they don't hunt them.
The cats love to look at the birds and pretend like they're hunting them and scare the crap out of the birds.
Oh, poor birds.
Yeah, yes, Timmy. That's Timmy.
I had a cockatiel once named Birdie. She would sit on my shoulder in the shower,
Aw,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
sort of fluff her feathers, and she was really cute. Ended up
You know,
getting-
Bengals are known to take showers with their owners. I don't let my guys do this because I don't want a wet cat in the house.
Oh, April, coming along, coming along. So still,
Oh, sweet.
April, if you can see this here, there's like a dark leaf that kind of shapes the jar here.
okay.
It's out beyond. So you want to bring your jar in a little bit. And also notice there are some light areas in here that you'll want to pull out with your eraser. Oh, hi!
That's
Sweet,
Timmy
huh?
saying hello.
Oh, sweet.
They're talking to you. They're talking to you. Yes, Bernie.
Hello, Timmy.
Look at his little face.
He's such a dork. Yes, you.
He's really cute. All right. Are you all cursing me out yet? Is this too hard?
No screaming.
So you see how I'm adding like some lines, basically where edges meet, where flowers meet the jar, where flowers meet the background, where the contours of the apple, the contours of the thing, but now I'm just kind of going back in and looking for light, dark shapes, sort of medium shapes within with my brush that I can now kind of pull out a little bit. So I'm coming in here and adding in some darks. I'm going with the stuff I can see, and I'm not worrying too much about the stuff I can't see. Already I feel like I've got something here. I'm going to take a look at what was sent.
Oh, good. I'm about to send you mine too.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to do a little bit more demoing and then I'm there. Bye. I'm kind of darkening. Pulling back. Yeah, there we go. That's good. Dark. You see how little I need to really, I mean, look at this. It actually, it's kind of beautiful in its own raggedy sort of way. All right. Oh, is that the other one? Oh, Sandra, that's actually looking pretty good.
Oh, good.
I'm looking at the source. Yeah, ink is very clarifying, isn't it? If you're finding yourself, his eyes are darker, but you can get in there and darken them.
I had a little trouble with the eyes because the pupil is in a strange place on the eye that's partly hidden.
Well, that just means you got to get that shape right. You got to get it in the right.
Trying to see what's happening.
Right, but so if you can't see it, it means the pupil is partially hidden.
It looks to be like right in the corner. So when I do it like that, it looks like he's cross-eyed.
Then look at the shape around that shape to see if it'll give you.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I just think there's really like two shapes there. There's a kind of dark triangle. And you gotta embrace that a little bit. Okay, let's see. Anybody else want to send where they are, or Diana, that's looking pretty good. I think that's looking good. Those are some cute little birdies. Love the way they cock their head to the side. And remember, the best thing you can do here is really just go light until you kind of know, right? Because you can see, as long as I'm light enough, you still have a feeling. I don't really have to add much detail in here for this to feel like a bouquet of flowers. I'm just kind of out around the edges of things. Do the things that you can see. Don't stress about the things that you can't tell what's going on. Do the bigger shapes first. Let's see. All right. Francesca, it's not bad. So now I want you to look at the light and dark shapes of your apples, right? And dark shapes of your apples, right? So go in with your pen. That actually is pretty. And you can get darker in here too with your brush.
Okay. Yeah, I think I put the big flower too high, but yeah,
Right.
I can't move that. So
Right.
I will leave it as it where it is.
I would do, because you have very thick lines. You've got a brush line here for your,
Yeah.
is I would go over with an ink pen.
Okay.
See how I've got this really thick line here? It's kind of
Mhm.
defined. My brush line is thicker too. And so to delineate this a little bit more clearly, I went over with my ink pen. Also,
Okay.
here, see that anything I want to kind of exaggerate, sort of cement in the actual line here, I'll demonstrate to show you what I mean. I want to use the pen for. So in this case, I want that plate. In here, there is this kind of dark shape.
Mm-hmm.
See, so I'm outlining this
Okay.
in here, and then over here, I have to keep dipping my brush right in the pen. So that these things, because then all these other lines, this thicker line just kind of pushes to the background. You see that?
Yeah. Yeah. Clear. Yeah,
In
it's clear.
areas where you need to thin out, like say your face, or even these guys, right?
Okay.
Or your
Mhm.
water line.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
go
Yeah.
in and use a little bit more defining, and you're going to see then maybe right next to the line, you'll need to go a little bit darker, right? Like this. Add in the shadow going this way. Let's see. Woo, Jackie. Lovely. That's beautiful. So obviously plates are hard. We're gonna go into, at some point, we're gonna go into like the actual drawing of plates. You can see that you brought yours down a little
Yep.
too low. So what I would do is take your pen,
Yep.
your bamboo pen here. That's beautiful though. It's really lovely. And pull it across, straight across like this.
Yep.
That's gonna help a lot.
Okay.
Add in some shadows.
Oh, yeah.
Do the same thing with your edge of your jar.
Mhm. Yep.
Right, and then you can maybe even get a little darker on the outside. This is
Mhm.
beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah, and then you have like these lines here, maybe kind of brush them out with a little bit like a water, and right, so kind of make that look like background rather than like our original sketch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just kind of go around working edges. It's beautiful. How do you feel about it?
I mean, it's hard.
It's hard, but it looks pretty damn good.
Thank you.
So this forces us to simplify in a way that we're really not used to doing. But I think you totally, and here's the big thing, I think you got it. I think you totally got the feel of the piece. You got a feeling of 3 dimensions, and it's kind of romantic, and it's fetching. It's like a really nice, it's a lovely thing to see. Like, it's beautiful to the eye. So you did it. You achieved. So now kind of work around the edges. You may not want to try this one again. It's a pain. See how I'm adding just sort of little bits of texture down here. I can actually give myself a little shadow here. The shadow's going this way. Same here, since I don't have that thing kind of blocking. It's beautiful. I like it. Anybody else want to share where they're at? So Francesca, Jackie, excellent. Both of you. April, good job. Is this helpful at all, April? Is this helping at all? In
In
terms,
theory, like the lights and darks, but like the mid tones, I'm just not getting it all, and I feel like I'm about to cry.
yeah, oh, all right. Well, send it over and let me see how much you need to do. I don't think you need that much detail on here. Oh, Bettina, nice. Nice. So Bettina, take your pen and outline the shape of the jar with your bamboo pen.
Okay.
I love how you've done that with the, and also, actually it kind of works to not do it with the shapes. And yeah, April, that's looking great. So April, what I would do if I were you is go over the entire area with a kind of midtone, a basic midtone, right? So anything that is not absolutely light, which is basically almost everything. In fact, go over the entire bouquet with your pencil as a midtone, and then see what lights pop out at you and darks, and pull those out. Do that, okay? So just make the whole thing middle, medium. Geraldine, nice. Yeah. Oh my God, these are great. Don't push yourself to be perfect here. That's going to make you crazy. Now I'm looking in here and thinking I could get a little bit more, a few darker shapes in here. Nice work. Geraldine, this is all dark. All here. All dark here. You could go darker with this, or medium, kind of dark medium, right? So this whole area, you can go dark medium.
Okay.
Down here, darker, sort of a medium.
Right.
Yep, just keep working.
Okay.
Yeah, April. I think the best thing is just over with the midtone, and then start pulling out with your so you can make these shapes a little bit bigger, April, and then these darks so that they fill up more space, and then go in and like pull an eraser out to get this piece. You won't have to get very much once you go kind of dark on everything. You know, I think these are really good. This is not really, I also want you also to know, you guys to know that like finishing a completely, I picked this subject for a very specific reason, because I knew you couldn't get to all the detail. I don't want you to get to all the detail. I want you to observe where the important details are, right? The biggest shapes. So keep going from shape to shape. Don't be so worried about in the end product. Does it look okay? Although I'm very happy with everything I'm seeing here. I think you guys are doing amazing. What I think this does is it shows beautiful, it shows your mark making and your shaping. I love the lines in April's apples and in her shaded areas. I love this little crosshatch thing happening in here. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I love Bettina. This just turned out well. I really like how you pushed it. I love this, Jackie. I mean, these are gorgeous. Francesca, stunning. Sandra, yeah, you got it. Timmy, you're cute as hell. Oh, no, wait, that's not Timmy. Is this
That's
Timmy?
Bernie.
Bernie. Look, I just love his little face. Doing good, buddy. Being cute. What you're supposed to do. You think you're cute?
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
He is really cute. So,
Bernie says thank you.
I heard that. They like being admired, don't they? The birds.
Yes. Yes, they do.
Most animals do, they can tell.
Yeah. Sandra, recently, April, Sandra did a commission of a watercolor rabbit named Sir Alfred Fonzarelli.
So Arthur, yeah, Fonzarelli.
Arthur Fonzarelli. And then she delivered it to the people. And Arthur Fonzarelli actually sat with her on your right, on your right.
Yeah,
tell the story.
Because normally rabbits, they're not that affectionate to strangers. But he could tell I really liked him. He came to snuggle against me. It was really nice to actually meet him in person.
Sir Arthur Fonzarelli.
He has an Instagram account, you know.
Oh, it don't. I'm gonna go follow it.
The rabbit does?
Subscribe, I suspect.
Sir Arthur Fonzarelli. So they know. I think animals know when you're admiring them. I think they know it.
They totally do.
They're like it. They're like, yes, please bow down to us. We are. Now, I wanted to show you guys something. Remember how I kind of mucked up this area earlier? I got the line was too thick. I just waited. I sort of softened it with water and then I waited until it dried. And then I went back in with a pen and added some harder lines. So I just want you to find 2 or 3 areas in your drawing or your painting where you think like you can do that. I don't know if everybody else's hand looks like this. It's actually going all the way up my arm.
Because you're having a more difficult time because you're on an angle.
I'm at an angle, right? So I keep leaning on it.
Those are happy birdie noises. The unhappy birdie noises I would totally mute out.
No, he really does sound happy. He's making like la 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 la.
Yep, happy birdie sounds.
So, Leah, I'm going to send mine now, and I realize I needed to leave a little time for cleanup before I.
Yeah, that's right. Great work today. So, Bettina, I want to really send it over, but I want to really credit you. I think you really did some amazing problem solving in this session. Do you feel it? You should be a little tired.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
Right. I learned how to erase by absorbing something into the background.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, if you take a wet Kleenex or a wet paper towel and it's still at the light stage, you can just gently rub it off.
But even in the dark stage, look, I did that down here at the dark stage. I had a line that I didn't like. It was too dark. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, 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 yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Looks great. It looks really beautiful.
Thank you.
I love it. And I love seeing this. The struggle is the real thing, right? Going to this place where you're like, I'm not really sure what to do next, and then trying something new. That's what gets us to, completion. Maybe it's not what you thought it would be, but it is still kind of interesting, compelling, and beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great work, Bettina. We'll see you
Thank you.
next time.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye, everybody.
Yeah,
Bye.
Bye-bye.
for me. Oh, Jackie. Yeah. I still feel like this could be a thinner. So you've lost your shape a little bit down here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. So just bring your dark across. Make
Okay.
it a flat surface. And
Yep.
then bring in your, try a dark line in further, like in,
Mhm.
here, right? And then
Yep.
try scrubbing out that dark, thicker line in the back.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see what we can do. Really nice.
So
I mean, kind of great, isn't it? In a way, like it's its own.
yeah, I've done something very ambitious.
See, I like that. I like the sound of that.
Hmm.
You'll see also if you guys, let's see. Oh, goat. Proportionally. So Sandra, look at the, remember how we drew a box around the front two legs?
Right.
Look at how the back shape of the body relates to that. You'll see your legs are a little bit the back legs are a little bit too far to the left.
Okay.
When you box it
It
up.
needs to be in a smaller box, right?
Well, just look, it's narrow.
Yeah.
This is a very narrow shape, this shape. This is the shape we need to fix here. Let's see if I can make it. See if I can
And you think the face is okay, or is it too big?
the face looks all right.
Okay.
So it's more. It's hard to do this with my. I'm just trying to do this. Just take a look at where
I've got it. I mean, I've just brought the back leg
I got it.
closer.
I'm gonna send it over to you. You can see, yep, exactly.
That looks better already.
Do anything thicker with that on my phone is a little bit. Ooh, Geraldine, nice, nice. Ah, great, wonderful. If you want to, you can go kind of like do a kind of like April's doing. You can do a little bit of a light, medium-ish shading around a lot of the work that you've done, but you've got some nice. So yeah, beautiful. Do you like it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think my flowers are slightly squashed, I think, but
That's so that's all about shape, right? So that's about like this shape, this dark in relation to this dark.
right.
Yeah, that looks better, Sandra.
Thank you.
So that as you start to go forward, if you want to, you can sort of pull these shapes up, and that will make your flowers feel a little less squished.
Right.
Add in your darks in the right shapes. Try that, because we've got a couple minutes before class. We got about 15 minutes. So see what happens if you do that.
Will do.
And also, yeah, it's really one. I like this one. This one. Yeah, this one is just leaning a little bit too much this way. So you can make it more of a diamond shape. And I think that will help. But I mean, it's good. They're good. They're good. And we have to let go of a little bit of control. Next week, we'll take a little bit more control again. We'll work on, I think we're going to do a little still life work because I want to.
Oh no, another dead nature.
What?
You
More
promised a fox or something.
did I promise that? Maybe we'll draw a cockatiel.
Okay. Yes, I'd love that. I almost drew him.
That would be really fun. April, could you send some pictures of, could we draw your cockatiels?
They would love it.
Can you send us a couple pictures across?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got tons. All right,
Thank
next
you.
week we're drawing cockatiels
Great.
in ink. Next week we're drawing cockatiels, which will feel like a lot easier compared to this.
Compared to
Like,
dead flowers.
we're gonna draw Timmy and Bernie. You're such a dork. You're such a
I'm
dork.
getting excited already.
He's like, woo! Woo! I'm excited. Oh, this juju. Anybody else want to send theirs across? For yeah, there we go. For some kind of last minute advice on where to take it.
You're so cute. You're so cute.
They make very pretty noises, don't they?
When they're not squawking.
Just find something, an area that you want to work. One or two more areas. Oh, don't hide. Oh, very nice, Diana. Coming along. You'll see, I'm going to pull Diana's first try. Did you send me two, Diana, or just one? Nope, we have two. I'm going to send these down the thread so you guys can see them next to each other.
You can see the master at work.
Here's number 2. Now here's number 3.
Wow.
Look at them in order. So she's doing, notice how much less detail is in that first one here, right? Just basic lights and darks, the biggest that you can see. And then we go to whites, going in and creating some of the shaping. So lessening the dramatic darks, and then edging. So she's doing kind of sharp edge, similar really to what we've been doing. She's kind of doing sharper edging to allow some of the petals to be seen, but not all of them.
What medium is that?
That's acrylic.
Oh,
So with acrylic, of course, you can layer paintings over each other. And tomorrow we have an acrylic oil painting studio and also a pastel landscapes class. So if you want to join either of those, let me know. I'm going to make sure to send you guys a corrected schedule across the thread that you can print out with all of the correct times.
Oh, tomorrow we got the extra hour, right?
Tomorrow we've got the extra hour. So
I've been looking forward to that.
for Europe and the
We
US,
already had this.
India becomes, goes an hour later. India, Europe, the US, and Mexico go back to normal. And Geraldine, you'll see I added a little Mexico City time slot. You guys are the same as Chicago, so I just stuck you in there.
Thank you, Leah.
You're
Very
welcome.
kind of you. Okay.
Geraldine, what do you do in Mexico?
I work for Reuters as a journalist.
But what do you in English
Yes,
or in Spanish?
we write everything in English. Yeah.
And what do you cover?
Well, I used to cover Latin America, and I've now been moved to the global desk, and so we'll be covering helping Northam and maybe a few countries still in Latin America.
Nice.
But I'm on the
And,
desk.
Sorry?
I'm on the desk.
Yeah.
You
And I
might
haven't
work with
seen.
Sandra. You might work with Sandra.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm still on the LATAM desk, and so we'll be facing out.
So you were editing? No.
In television. Yes.
Television. Because I thought I
Television.
haven't seen your copy. How come I haven't seen your copy? That's why. Because you're in
Right.
television.
In television, yeah.
I'm in text.
As a producer.
But I
Right.
couldn't- because I edit Mexico copy all the time. So I thought, what?
Ah, no,
I
yeah,
couldn't-
well, telly, yeah. I forgot
That
to say
explains
that,
it.
yeah.
That explains it. Well, welcome. These are fantastic
Thanks.
classes.
Yes,
She signed up
Yeah,
for
thank
2
you.
already.
yeah. Yeah, I have to make time to do
Oh, yeah,
something.
Oh, it's well worth it, you know.
So Sandra, the one I'm doing, isn't that the picture that you've taken?
No,
How,
that's one of mine.
Oh, it's one of yours.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think. I know
Wait.
she took some water lilies, but
how would I know?
I don't
I
know.
have some water lilies also, but
it might be Sandra's, but I thought they look a lot like the one, well, they could be yours. They look a lot like the ones I used for class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, anyway, somebody's.
Somebody.
All right, so we've got about 7 minutes left. So if you want to, go ahead and send your last kind of efforts, and you can keep working on this. And by the way, keep sending stuff either to me privately on WhatsApp or on this class thread. I encourage you to keep working on it and see if you get somewhere that you're happy with. You don't have to, but it's a kind of a fun little thread. People talk to each other during it. You send each other pictures. I think everybody did really well today. I'd love to see a final if you don't mind.
wow. So you're getting tough, Leah.
And what? Am I
You're
getting
getting tough.
am I getting tough?
Yeah, asking to see your final. Like, you better finish your assignment,
Send a final if you don't want to send a final.
or you don't get to do the cockatoo.
It's also sending us over delightful cockatiel photos, of which we'll be doing at least 2 in next week's ink class. So ink and drawing. Thanks, April. We appreciate it. Thanks, Timmy and Bernie. You can see Timmy's kind of yellower and Bernie's got more gray. Oh, nice, Geraldine. Good. Excellent. Excellent. You guys, these are real. This is
Thank
good.
you.
If you want to send it, send it. If you don't want to send it, you don't have to. I'm going to actually stop the recording now.